I finally finished Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 for the very first time. Yeah, for some reason I haven't completed them before. But anyway, Super Mario Galaxy is considered to be one of the best Mario games or even best video games ever created. And I do agree with that statement, even though I think Odyssey is better, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. A huge reason for why that is its level design. Or more specifically, its galaxies. From Honey Hive Galaxy to Space Junk Galaxy to Freeze Flame Galaxy. Each one brings something memorable and new to the table. But today I want to focus on where it all started. Because the first galaxies you play, Gateway Galaxy and Good Egg Galaxy, quietly teaches you everything you need to know about how Super Mario Galaxy works. We'll talk about 2 levels because I think just talking about one of them isn't complete. You'll see why later. I'll talk about 4 stars in the video. First I'll talk about the Grand Star, then after that I'll talk about the first 3 stars from Good Egg Galaxy. Welcome to the first episode of the Level Showcase series, a series where I analyze levels in various video games and then I'll talk about whether I like them or not. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and let's launch ourselves into Gateway Galaxy. Remember when I said I'd start talking about Gateway Galaxy? I kinda lied. Well, not really. You see, I'm also going to count the Star Festival as part of this level. And that's because it already starts teaching the player how Super Mario Galaxy works, even before you properly take control. Anyways, let's just start talking about the level, cause we don't have all day. The game begins with a letter from Princess Peach inviting Mario to the Star Festival and saying she has a gift for him. After that, you're given control of Mario in a small enclosed area with a mostly linear path. This section works as a safe space to learn the basic controls. There are no enemies and no obstacles, so the player can comfortably get used to how Mario moves. Here you learn the essentials: walking, jumping, the dive jump, and collecting star bits, either by pointing the Wii remote, using the gyro controls, or touching the screen on the Switch version. Once that's established, the game gently guides you towards the main path, where there are a few toads here to teach the player that never touched the controller in their life. Probably a noob like you. There is also a dock along the way, where you can see a better view on Peach's castle. It's small but a cute addition nonetheless. Going back to the main path, we enter the town area and a cutscene, where Bowser's airship shows up, shooting meteors at buildings, freezing toads, and proceeds to kidnap the princess. The Bowser kidnapping Peach idea has been done many times before, but Super Mario Galaxy makes it stand out by turning it into a massive spectacle, with airships, a flying UFO, and Peach's entire castle being dragged into space. It's the same setup, just done in a much more interesting way. Let's go back to the gameplay, shall we? Now we have to go to Peach's castle. There are a few frozen toads along the way, but you can't help them, so the game gives you no real choice except to keep moving forward. There are also a few meteors you're meant to avoid, but they're deliberately harmless. This is the first level after all, and the game doesn't want to frustrate the player yet. Now we're entering the castle entrance. There are 2 ways to go there, the obvious one being the main path here, and the second one being in the open area full of grass. This alternate route is especially nice for second playthroughs and speedrunners. After that, we get another cutscene. Bowser pulls the castle into space and Kamek shows up to blast Mario away. Overall, I really like this part of the level. It's a nice area for the player to learn the controls, the pacing is great, and the place looks magnificent. I especially like the dock area, showing us a nice view at the castle. It's simple but effective. But there's one problem I have, not just for this level, but the game as a whole. You can't skip the cutscenes. In a first playthrough, it's whatever, and to be fair, there's not that many cutscenes. But it's kind of a slog, especially when replaying or speedrunning it. They didn't even change it in the new bundle that costs $70. Let's just continue with our galactic journey before I call Antasma to send this bundle into Antasma's nightmare. Anyways, after that, Mario is woken up by one of these sentient stars called Lumas. And it turns out we've landed on a small planet. Your objective here is to play with the Lumas which transforms into rabbits that you need to chase down. There are 3 of them. You have to chase all of them on this tiny planet. This works as a solid tutorial, and I really like the presentation. Not only does it introduce the gravity mechanic in a very natural way, but it's also surprisingly relaxing. The grassy planet, the beautiful space skybox, and especially the music all work together. The best way I can describe the music is lonely but peaceful, and it fits perfectly with the planet and the objective. In general, Super Mario Galaxy has an incredible soundtrack. I also like all the small stuff they added in as well, like a pipe and the hole to go to the other side. After you catch all the rabbits, a structure appears, and climbing to the top introduces us to the Cosmic Guardian Rosalina. She's here to give you the spin ability. That might sound basic, but trust me, you'll be using it constantly throughout the game. It's not as flashy as something like Cappy or Flood, but it's fun, versatile, and it works really well. Progressing further requires breaking a crystal. You probably remember the toads trapped in crystals that you couldn't do anything about. Now, with the spin attack, you can finally break them. Breaking the crystal lets us access the launch tower. You spin once more, get launched to the next area, and now we're finally thrown into the real action. Our next objective is to collect all 5 star fragments on this small planet to progress further throughout the level. This is where the game starts introducing real obstacles like Goombas, falling meteors, and even a black hole. You can deal with the Goombas by stomping on them, but the new spin attack makes handling enemies in a 3D space much easier. There is also a 1-up you can grab here, which is a nice touch. My only small nitpick is that the black hole and the meteors might show up a little too early, but honestly, it doesn't really bother me. After you get all of them, just launch yourself to the next segment. Now you have to save the Luma by defeating the Goombas, since one of them has the key. The Micro Goombas, yes, that's what the green ones are called, don't have the key, but there's one brown Goomba which does have the key. I think it's nice they made it a lot more obvious, especially for a first level. But there's a little bit of difficulty with the normal Goomba, needed to be hit twice. I think this part is alright overall, makes a decent use of the spin attack, and I also like the tall triangle glass structure, which makes the Goombas dizzy when they get closer to it. This also improves the earlier crystal section, since that moment gives you a safe place to learn how the spin works. By the time you reach this area, the game expects you to understand what you're doing. Can you imagine if they added a pipe instead? What will the player do with those Goombas after that? Thank God that crystal is there, because if it wasn't, then you probably ruined their lives. Anyways, the Luma then transforms into a Slink Star, which leads to the other planet close to the one we were in. It's also a lot bigger, and has more of these triangle thingies. You have to kill the big Goomba to get another key. You can easily do that with the triangle thingies, which I don't know the names of. After that, go to the pipe. Inside there's a Grand Star. You need to remove it so you can turn off this awful machine, said by one of the Lumas. To do that, you need to turn off all the panels, and there's a few obstacles and enemies to avoid. Turning them off gives us access to the Grand Star, and with that, Gateway Galaxy is finished. Overall, this is a decent way to teach the player about the gravity mechanic and the ability to spin. It's a short level, but it gets the job done. I don't have much to say about its aesthetic and music-wise, but it works. I don't have that much complaints except for that one nitpick with the black hole. So the devs really cooked with that one. But this isn't the only level we'll talk about. No. There's also our first big galaxy, aka Good at Galaxy. The reason why I'll talk about it, because it also teaches the player about the game and brings more enemies and mechanics. So what are we waiting for? Let's get to it. Also, one last thing, the Comet Observatory is cool, but I'm not getting into more detail. Let's just get into Good at Galaxy. The first star we will talk about is Dino Piran, which is named after the boss of this mission. Does the level do a great job leading us to the boss? Let's find out. The level starts in a planetoid with 2 sides, a colorful side with a home and a monochrome side with a tower, with the main path being this bridge that leads us to the top of the black tower, where a Luma turns into a slingshot to go to the next section. But before we talk about that, let's stay on this starting planetoid for a bit, because if you step off the main path, there are a few small secrets to find. There are 2 Octoombas near the house that drop star bits when defeated. There is also a green pipe that takes you to the monochrome area, which is a nice touch. The player is probably still getting used to the gravity mechanic, so adding a simple pipe helps ease that transition. There is also an orange pipe that leads to a sub-area where you collect musical notes. If you grab all of them, you're rewarded with a 1-up mushroom. Overall, this is a solid starting planetoid. It works well both for players who want to move straight to the action and for those who like to explore every nook and cranny. Our next objective is to collect all the star fragments in this peanuts-shaped planet. But try to avoid these boulders while doing that. If you somehow got damaged while doing that, don't worry. There's a coin you can get. After you get all the star fragments, you get the drill at this point. You go to the next segment. Now we're in a bit of a planetoid streak. I say that cause all the planets we're going to now are really small, and you'll finish it in a few seconds. The first section gives us our initial encounter with a piranha plant. Defeating it lets you move on to a nearby planetoid. There is also a large coin here that spawns a trail of star bits leading towards the next area, likely to help guide the player forward. Next, you have to take down a giant piranha plant. You can't attack it directly because of its spikes, so instead you use the stretch plant to defeat it. Just be careful not to hit yourself in the process. Once that's done, you move on to the next planetoid and climb the stairs while avoiding Octoombas. From there, you use a launch star to reach the giant egg. All you have to do now is crack the egg by using the spin attack on its tail, which immediately starts the fight against Dino Piranha. The dino will chase you down and you have to run away from him. Well, running wouldn't help you since he'll still get you eventually. Instead, go behind him and use your spin attack on its tail again, which will hit him. He'll get a lot faster, but hit him again 2 more times and the fight is over. And yeah, you get the star. Overall, I enjoyed this more than Gateway Galaxy. It's a much more stronger level overall. Each planetoid offers something a little different, which helps keep things fresh, and the boss fight is solid. The way you attack Dino Piranha mirrors the stretch plants you used earlier in the level, which are already required for progression, making the fight easier to understand. The aesthetic and music do their job well, but compared to other galaxies in the game, Good Egg isn't the most visually or musically interesting. Now we have 2 more missions to talk about. Our next star is a snack of cosmic proportion. In this mission you have to collect enough star bits to feed a hungry loon. I don't have much to say about this. I'll mostly focus on the changes in this mission. This mission encourages exploration a lot more since you need at least 100 star bits to feed the Luma. If you don't have enough, you can backtrack and explore earlier areas, which is nice. It means the player isn't soft-locked and is encouraged to look around. Anyways, what's the changes in this mission? Well, instead of heading to the tower, you need to go on the side of it, where you have to hold on the pole star to launch yourself to the next planetoid. Don't panic, guys, the player already knows what these blue stars are. The dome where you select the galaxies have them. Anyways, the other difference this mission has is you going to different planetoids. I don't really have much to say about them except for the Yoshi Egg one, since it has the Hungry Luma. Feeding it lets you access and progress further throughout the level. Now we have to go on top of the hill. There are a few enemies you need to avoid. There is also an optional 1-up you can get, which is always a nice addition. Another great thing about this planet is that you can skip a chunk of it, which is great for speedrunners and second playthroughs. Next up is a tall capsule-shaped planet. You need to find the entrance to get inside, which leads to a 2D section. I'm personally fine with the side-scrolling section and 3D platformers, and this one works pretty well. The game integrates the gravity mechanic nicely. Landing on the red side puts you on the ceiling, while the blue side drops you back onto the floor. There's also another one up here, which is a cute touch. Finishing this section gives you access to the final planetoid of this mission. You can either use the pole stars to reach the power star or simply long jump. Both options work. Overall, this is probably the weakest star covered in this video. It's not bad, but compared to the others, especially the next one we'll talk about, it doesn't stand out as much. Its main highlight is feeding the Luma, and while the 2D section is fine, it's been done better in other galaxies. That said, I do like how this mission pushes the player to explore more in order to collect more star bits. Let's just go to our last star, which is King Caliente's battle fleet. which is the second boss of the game. And yes, this galaxy has 2 bosses. Is the lead up to the boss good? Let's find out. You start by climbing on top of a house and launch yourself to the next planet, which is a beach planetoid filled with coconuts. To progress further, you need to knock down one of the spiked obstacles using the coconuts. This is a great setup since the coconuts are also the main mechanic used in the boss fight later on. After that, you defeat a giant pokey using a coconut and a ground pound. Then make your way forward while avoiding rolling chain chomps, bullet bills, and octoombas before launching to the next section. Next up are 2 airships. To open the bridge between them, you need to defeat 2 octopus enemies. They shoot coconuts at you, and the idea is to hit them back. Fireballs won't work here. Once both are defeated, you can continue to the back of the ship and use the launch star. Now it's time to face King Caliente. The fight itself is straightforward. You hit him with his own coconuts, while avoiding fireballs. In the second and third phase, it basically turns into a tennis match. Similar to Ocarina of Time, but much easier. He also starts throwing lava bubbles at the beginning of the third phase. Once he's defeated, the level ends. Overall, it's a solid boss fight. I like that King Caliente is a bit more challenging than Dino Piranha. Dino mainly teaches the player to hit a weak spot, while Caliente forces you to time your spin attacks properly. The level as a whole does a great job teaching the player how coconuts work, and then fully commits to that mechanic in the boss battle. In general, Good Egg Galaxy is a strong opening galaxy. It continues teaching the spin ability, expands on the gravity mechanic, and offers good replayability thanks to its shortcuts. Before ending the video, let's rank the stars on a tier list. Gateway Galaxy's Grand Star goes in a low B tier. It does exactly what a first level should, but it's a bit too short. Dino Piranha's star goes in S tier. Not necessarily an S tier star in the entire game, but compared to the others we've talked about, it's the strongest one here. A snack of cosmic proportion is the weakest star we covered, so it goes in C tier. There isn't much to say about it. King Caliente's battle fleet lands in an A tier. The lead up to the boss is excellent, even if I personally enjoy the first mission a bit more. And that's the end of the video. I can't wait to make more episodes about this series in 2026. I might cover something like Deltarune or Donkey Kong Bonanza later down the line. Let me know what you thought about the video, and if there are any flaws or things I can improve on in the future, which there is, feel free to leave a comment below. But anyways, I'm YALLAHELLA, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy New Year, and bye.